Welcome to Heartline Stories. Today's story follows Jennifer, a single mom whose life takes a surprising turn when she meets Robert, a cold-hearted billionaire CEO. After an unexpected encounter, Robert finds himself drawn to her in ways he never imagined. But can love really bloom between two people from such different worlds? Stay tuned to find out how one simple connection changes everything. Let us know where you're watching from. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more heartwarming stories. It was a cold Tuesday evening when Jessie, a young waitress, was cleaning up after the dinner rush at the small diner she worked at. The kitchen had quieted down, and the only sound was the soft hum of the fridge. Jessie was looking forward to going home, but there was something on her mind. She had been working at the diner for over a year now, and though she liked her job, she knew it wasn't what she wanted to do for the rest of her life. Jessie's dream was to own her own bakery, but that dream seemed so far away, especially with the bills piling up and the rent due soon. As she wiped down the tables, she heard a soft cry coming from outside. She paused, listening carefully. It wasn't the sound of a cat or a dog. It was the sound of a child. Jessie's heart skipped a beat. She quickly grabbed her jacket and rushed outside. To her surprise, she saw a little girl, no older than 5 or 6, standing by the side of the street. The girl was in pajamas and barefoot, tears streaming down her face. "Hey there, sweetheart," Jessie said softly, kneeling down to the girl's level. "Are you okay? What are you doing out here all alone?" The little girl looked up at Jessie with wide, frightened eyes. "I don't know where my mommy is," she whispered. Jessie's heart ached. She knew she couldn't leave the girl out here alone, especially in the cold. "Don't worry, I'll help you find her," Jessie said gently. "Come inside with me, okay? You're safe now." The girl nodded, still sniffling, and Jessie took her hand, leading her back into the diner. Jessie called the police, who arrived shortly after, but they couldn't seem to find any information about the girl's parents. For the next hour, Jessie sat with the little girl, trying to comfort her. She gave the girl some warm milk and cookies while the police officers tried to search for any leads. Jessie learned that the girl's name was Lily, and she had wandered away from home after a fight between her parents. As the night wore on, Lily finally fell asleep in Jessie's arms. The police officer took down Jessie's contact information before leaving, promising to update her once they found Lily's parents. The next morning, Jessie woke up early and went to the diner to start her shift. As she opened the door, she was greeted by a tall, well-dressed man. "Excuse me, are you Jessie?" he asked, his voice calm but urgent. Jessie nodded. "Yes, that's me. Can I help you?" The man's eyes softened. "I'm Robert Williams, Lily's father. I wanted to personally thank you for finding her last night. She's been missing for hours, and I was terrified." Jessie's heart skipped a beat. "Of course. I'm just glad she's safe. But, how did she end up alone in the street like that?" Robert's face grew sad. "It's a long story. My wife and we've been having some problems, and Lily is caught in the middle of it all. But that's not why I'm here." Jessie was confused. "What do you mean?" Robert hesitated before speaking. "Last night, after everything happened, I realized that I owe you more than just a thank you. You showed kindness and compassion to my daughter when no one else was there. I've been looking for someone who can help me, someone who understands the value of caring for others. And after everything, I want to offer you a chance to work for me." Jessie's eyes widened. "What do you mean?" I own a successful business, Robert explained, and I've been looking for someone like you, someone with a big heart who genuinely cares about others. I need someone to help manage some of my personal affairs. I know it's a big ask, but I'd be willing to offer you a salary that would allow you to leave the diner and work with me full time. This could be your chance to finally follow your dreams. Jessie felt like the ground was slipping out from under her. Was he really offering her a chance to change her life? Could it be true? She didn't know what to say. This was everything she had dreamed of, an opportunity to step away from the diner and work somewhere that would help her get closer to her goals. But as she looked at Robert, something held her back. She was nervous, unsure if this sudden offer was too good to be true. I I don't know what to say, Jessie whispered. I've always dreamed of having a better life, but I've never had a chance like this before. Why me, though? I'm just a waitress. Robert smiled kindly. Because you're more than just a waitress, Jessie. You're someone who showed true care and love for a little girl when she needed it the most. That's something money can't buy. I want you to be part of something bigger than yourself, and I believe you have the heart to do it. Jessie felt her heart swell. She had always wanted to make a difference, to help people and be someone who could make a positive impact. But could she really trust Robert's offer? Could she take this leap and change her life forever? Before she could answer, Robert spoke again. Take your time to think about it, but know that this opportunity won't last forever. I'd really like to have you on my team. As Robert left, Jessie stood there still in shock. What had just happened? Was this the break she had been waiting for? She walked to the back of the diner, where she found a quiet spot to sit and think. Her mind was racing. This could be everything she'd hoped for, or it could be too good to be true. But as she thought about her dreams, about her future, she knew one thing for sure. Her life was about to change in ways she couldn't even imagine. As time passed, Jennifer and Robert grew closer. They began building their lives together, but challenges still crept in. Jennifer had to balance her responsibilities as a single mother with her growing feelings for Robert, and Robert struggled to adjust to the chaos of a family life that was so different from his quiet, luxurious world. Despite the hurdles, they found ways to support each other. Robert helped Jennifer with some of the kids' activities, attending school events, and even volunteering at local charity events that meant a lot to her. His presence in their lives started to mean more than anything else. One afternoon, Jennifer sat in her small apartment, going through the bills and paperwork she had neglected. The kids were outside playing, and she found herself staring at the picture of her and Robert on the desk. Her thoughts drifted to him. She was happy with him, but the doubts that had once clouded her mind still lingered. She loved him, yes, but how would things look in the future? Suddenly the phone rang, breaking her train of thought. It was Robert. "Hey, Jen," he said with a smile in his voice. "How are you doing today?" Jennifer smiled, feeling the warmth of his voice. "I'm good, just catching up on some things. How about you?" "I'm actually in your area," he said. "I've been thinking about you, and I'd love to see you." Her heart skipped a beat. "I'd love to see you too." They made plans to meet, and Jennifer quickly tidied up before the kids came inside. Her thoughts raced. Robert was so different from the man she had first met, the cold, distant billionaire. Now he was someone she could see spending the rest of her life with, someone who genuinely cared for her and her children. When Robert arrived, he surprised her with flowers. Jennifer couldn't help but smile as he handed them to her. "These are for you," he said, his eyes filled with affection. She took the bouquet, feeling touched. You're sweet, Robert. Thank you. I've been thinking about what you said the other day, Robert said, his voice soft, about not losing yourself in this relationship. I want you to know that I'm not asking you to change. I love who you are, Jennifer. The single mom, the woman who works so hard, the person who loves her kids unconditionally. I just want to be a part of your life, but only if you want me there. Tears welled up in Jennifer's eyes. She had never felt so understood. Robert wasn't trying to change her or pressure her. He just wanted to be there, to share her world. And that was more than she had ever expected from someone so successful. I want you there, Robert, she whispered, her voice thick with emotion. I really do. But sometimes I wonder if it's possible for us to make this work long term. Can a billionaire CEO really live in this world with a single mom like me? Robert took her hand in his. You don't have to worry about that. I'm not living in your world. We're living in our world. And I'm ready to face whatever comes as long as we're together. Jennifer's heart swelled with love. She had always been afraid that their differences would tear them apart. But in this moment, she realized that love didn't need to be perfect. It just needed to be real. That evening, they spent hours talking about their hopes and dreams for the future. Robert talked about his desire to start a foundation to help children in need, and Jennifer shared her dreams of one day opening a daycare center to help single parents like herself. It was clear that they had visions that aligned, and even though the road ahead wouldn't always be easy, they were both committed to making it work. But as they continued to grow closer, new challenges arose. Jennifer started to feel guilty for not spending enough time with her children, and Robert began feeling overwhelmed by the pressure of his responsibilities at work. They tried to balance their time, but the strain of juggling their relationship with their busy lives was starting to take its toll. One night, as they sat together on the couch, Robert looked at her, his eyes filled with concern. I can see that you're struggling, Jennifer, he said softly. I don't want to add more stress to your life. Maybe we should slow down, take a step back for a while. Jennifer shook her head quickly. No, Robert, I don't want to take a step back. I just need to find a way to balance everything better. Robert reached out, taking her hand in his. We'll figure it out together. You don't have to do this alone. His words reassured her, but deep down, she wondered if she could truly find that balance. She wanted to give everything to her family and her children, but could she also give herself to Robert and their future? As the weeks went on, Jennifer and Robert continued to face challenges together. The world they were building was far from perfect, but it was theirs. They learned to communicate more openly, to support each other in ways they never expected, and to find joy in the little moments. And even though there were times when Jennifer felt overwhelmed, she knew one thing for sure. Her love for Robert was real, and it was worth fighting for. As the weeks passed, Jennifer and Robert settled into a comfortable routine. Robert continued to be a steady support for Jennifer, helping her with her children and taking the time to learn about the life she had built before meeting him. Jennifer, in turn, found herself growing more and more fond of him. She had never met anyone who truly cared for her and her kids the way Robert did. However, there was still a lingering doubt in Jennifer's mind. She couldn't fully shake the feeling that their worlds were too different. Despite Robert's efforts to make her feel at ease, she couldn't help but wonder if the lifestyle he led would eventually pull them apart. One weekend, Robert invited Jennifer and the kids to spend a day with him at his estate. It was an extravagant place with sprawling lawns and a grand mansion that could easily host a dozen families. Jennifer felt out of place as soon as they arrived, but Robert reassured her with his warmth and attention. As they spent the day together, Jennifer noticed something she hadn't before: how isolated Robert seemed in his own world. Though he had everything anyone could dream of, there was an emptiness to his life that became more and more apparent the longer they stayed. She realized that, despite his wealth, Robert had never known a love quite like what she could offer. That evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Robert took Jennifer aside for a quiet moment. "Jennifer," he said, his voice softer than usual, "I've been thinking a lot about us, and I want you to know something. You've brought so much light into my life. Before I met you, I was just existing, going through the motions. But now with you and the kids, I feel something real. I feel like I'm finally living." Jennifer felt her heart swell. She hadn't realized how much Robert needed her until that moment, but she also knew that, despite his feelings for her, they still had a long road ahead. "Robert, I care about you more than you know," Jennifer replied, "but I can't pretend that it's all easy. There are a lot of things to think about: the kids, my job, and everything in between. I don't want us to rush anything. We have to take it slow." Robert nodded, understanding her hesitation. "I'm not in a hurry, Jennifer. I want you to be sure of this. Of us. And I'll wait. I'll wait for as long as it takes." Jennifer smiled, touched by his patience. For the first time, she believed that their relationship might actually work, but deep down, she knew there were still hurdles to overcome. The next day, Robert invited Jennifer to lunch with a few of his business associates. It was an important meeting, and Jennifer, though nervous, agreed to join him. She was determined to show him that she was willing to step into his world, despite her doubts. The lunch was held at a luxurious restaurant downtown, and Jennifer felt her anxiety build as they entered. The other guests were dressed in expensive suits, their conversations revolving around stocks, investments, and the latest business trends. Jennifer felt out of place, especially as the only person there who wasn't a millionaire or billionaire. But Robert kept her close, introducing her to everyone and making sure she felt included. Throughout the meal, Jennifer tried her best to engage in the conversation, even though she didn't fully understand the jargon being thrown around. She couldn't help but notice that most of the guests seemed to look at her with curiosity, as if they were wondering what someone like her was doing at a table with people like them. After the meal, as they were leaving, one of Robert's business partners pulled him aside. "I don't know if this is the best idea, Robert," the man said quietly. "You're a billionaire, and she's, well, it's risky." Jennifer didn't hear the full conversation, but she could sense the judgment in the man's tone. It wasn't the first time someone had questioned their relationship, but it still stung. She hadn't realized how much she would have to fight for her place in Robert's world. Later that evening, when they were back at Robert's estate, Jennifer felt exhausted. Robert noticed her mood change and sat beside her. "What's wrong?" he asked softly. "I'm not sure I belong in your world, Robert," Jennifer admitted. "I don't know how to be around people like that. I can't pretend to fit in. I don't have the answers they want, and I don't have the life they live. I just, I don't know if I can keep doing this." Robert reached for her hand, his voice gentle but firm. "Jennifer, you don't have to be anyone other than yourself. I don't care about what they think. What matters is what's between us. And if you want to be with me, you will always be enough." Jennifer looked at him, feeling the weight of his words sink in. She had spent so much time trying to fit in, to be something she wasn't, that she had forgotten the most important thing: being true to herself. "Thank you, Robert," she whispered. I needed to hear that. In the following days, Jennifer continued to wrestle with her feelings. She knew that Robert was offering her everything: love, support, a future. But she wasn't sure she was ready to leave behind the life she had built. The kids, her job, her friends, it all felt too important to give up. But at the same time, she knew that Robert's love had changed her in ways she couldn't explain. And maybe, just maybe, this relationship could be something that fit into both of their worlds. She took a deep breath, deciding to take the next step, whatever that meant. And as the weeks passed on, she began to find a balance, a way to weave her life with Robert's without losing herself in the process. They faced new challenges, but with every obstacle, they grew stronger together. Jennifer and Robert faced challenges, as all couples do. There were moments when life got busy, when responsibilities piled up, and when they wondered if they were making the right decisions. But through it all, they always returned to each other, finding strength in their love. One evening, Robert took Jennifer to a beautiful garden, a place she had never been before. As they walked along the path, he stopped and turned to face her. Jennifer, he began, I know we've both had our doubts at times, but I also know that I don't want to do this without you. I want to be your partner, your equal, and I want us to build a life together, side by side. Jennifer felt her heart swell with emotion. She had never imagined that someone like Robert, with his wealth and power, would ever see her as an equal. But here he was, speaking from the heart. I've always believed that love is about choosing each other every day, Jennifer replied, her voice soft but sure. And I choose you, Robert. I want to build a future with you. With those words, Robert smiled and reached for her hand. Then let's make it happen, together. And from that moment on, they did. Jennifer continued to follow her dreams, balancing motherhood, her career, and her love for Robert. And Robert, the cold-hearted billionaire CEO, found that love was more valuable than any amount of money he could ever make. They built a life full of love, trust, and shared dreams. It wasn't always easy, but it was theirs, and they were stronger together. As the years went by, Jennifer and Robert proved that love, when nurtured with patience and understanding, can overcome any obstacle, no matter how different their worlds may seem. They were no longer just two people from different worlds. They were a family bound by love and the promise of a future they would build together. And that, in the end, was all that mattered. Thank you for joining us on this Heartline story. Will their love survive all obstacles? Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.